Making friends and getting a girlfriend, for me, has been the most effortful and stressful part of my life, and has taken by far longer than anything else to start seeing results. And one thing that I think most people don't really realize is that it takes way longer and takes way more effort than you think it does to start making friends and whatever. And you've also improved more than you think, which means that I think most people oscillate between either thinking they're about to make a friend or friends and they think their troubles are over, or they're at the opposite end and they think that they're never going to make friends. They're never going to truly be charismatic and social or anything. And the reality is obviously somewhere in the middle, because it's going to take a very, very long time. That's just a harsh reality of it. Like, it's taken me years and years and years. Like, I like kind of half locked in like grade 8 or grade 9. I locked in slightly more every year. I fully locked in at the end of 2025 after I'd started this channel. And it's only like, I don't know, it's rough, but if we look just in terms of like concrete metrics, I only got a girlfriend this year. So it's taken a long, long time. And it has been a lot further away than I've thought. There was times in university, so last year and the year before, where I'd invited people out and they'd said yes. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so close to making a friend. And because I'd never actually gotten to that stage before where I'd invited people out and they'd said yes, I thought, oh, well, this is what friends do, right? But no, there was further to go. I was climbing up a mountain, I'd reached a peak, and I thought that was the peak, but I came to find that there was another dip and then another mountain behind it. Because I kept following up with them, I kept talking to them, and they didn't want to be my friends after we hung out maybe twice or 3 times. So when I hit university, I told myself that I was not going to go all of university without making a friend. Just like in high school, I went all of high school without making a friend. I actually made one in grade 7, and I lost that friend like in grade 7 as well. Didn't make any after that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna lock in a little bit. I'm gonna still focus on my studies, but I'm gonna lock in more than I did in high school. And so in all of my classes, all my lectures right at the start, I would go up to people and I would sit with them. And you know, the following year, I joined all these clubs as well, and I would go to all these events. I joined a mentorship group, and the following year I started going to like a little like partner dance club to try and find a girlfriend. I didn't like dancing, by the way, and it was until like 9 p.m. at night after my bedtime. I did not want to be there, but hey. I went to all these lengths, and again, over the space of like 2 years, did I make a friend? No. Not a single one. And it was because I lacked these skills and everything to make friends, that I hadn't met the right people, because I was kind of slightly going about it wrong. Well, I'll get to that point. So for me, like, this was the biggest struggle. Getting a perfect GPA was another, I mean, this is not to boast, this is to prove a point. Getting a perfect GPA was another one of my goals coming into university. So make friends, get a perfect GPA. Can you guess which one I got? It was not making friends. I'll give you that as a hint. So this is a thing that lots of people don't even have to struggle with. And for some people, it is harder than things that other people find difficult. So there's no like right thing that is hard. Different stuff is hard. And for me, making friends is hard. It's getting easier. It was hard. It still is a bit hard, to be honest. And that sucks. Like, as I said at the very start, it's very stressful. I mean, it's getting better because you can kind of reduce your stress, but it takes effort. And you know, I've got to go out and meet all these people all the time. I wish I could just like lock in and make more YouTube videos instead. But no, I've got to be doing this. And there's all this extra stuff that goes on. Like, it's just an extra area of my life that some people don't have to worry about, but I do. And it's hard and it's annoying. And that is just kind of how it is, you know. Everyone has stuff that they struggle with. That's how I see it, you know. For me, that is friendships, and soon it won't be. Soon I'll have something else to struggle with because I'll have made them. And in the past, it was definitely that. And other people might be their grades, it might be whatever else, but they've all got something. And so this is just one of those things that everyone has to deal with. Some people, sure, they have more that they're struggling with than others, but everyone has something. And another thing to remember is that the relationships that you have, even if they don't lead to actual friendships, are still meaningful. You don't need to think of them as black or white, where either you've made a friend and, oh, it's a meaningful relationship, or you haven't quite made a friend and it was all for nothing. It meant nothing to you. Because like if you hung out with someone 3 times and then they ghosted you, you had 3 like fun hangouts with them, and like for that time you were friends. It's just like if you break up with someone after years of dating, that doesn't mean they weren't your partner for years and they didn't mean something to you. It's still good that it happened in a way, as long as it wasn't toxic. And for me in high school, I would get up every day going, oh, you know what, I'm going to get to go and talk to these people today. That was probably like maybe the number one thing that got me out of bed in like grades 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 was just the socializing that went on, both at my school, at my athletics training. That was what got me up out of bed. So literally, by definition, it was meaningful. Like what gets you out of bed is meaningful. And it doesn't have to be as extreme as it literally gets you out of bed. But if you look forward to socializing, then it is meaningful. Just because you don't have friends or anything, like close friends, that doesn't mean that the relationships that you do have don't add to your life and don't make it better. So appreciate the stuff that you do have. That's something I've learned to do. And as I'm saying, like all that stuff about it takes ages and ages, don't let that get you down, because you've improved more than you think. So it's going to take a very, very long time, but you will get there. That's what I'm trying to say. And appreciating how far you've come can make you feel better. Like I go to this like thing, which is like a weekly dinner with strangers. And one of the guys there, so I saw this guy, my very first one. So obviously I'd be more nervous because it's my first one, but we'll see. My point still stands, I think. And then I saw him maybe 3 months later, and I saw him a couple times in between. And on that third dinner, we were standing outside just chatting after the dinner. And I was like, oh, how have you been? He was like, good. And he was like, you know, Ivor, you've improved like so much since I last saw you. Like you're visibly more confident than that first time I saw you. And I was like, thank you, bro. Like, damn. And I went home and I was so happy. I was literally beaming as I was riding along on my electric scooter going home, like from ear to ear. All the cars walking past were probably like, what is that guy smiling about? It made me so happy because I hadn't noticed that improvement, because I'm experiencing myself constantly. So a small improvement is just going to get lost because it's so gradual. But to someone else, they're going to see you just jump up because they haven't seen you in a while, you know? And so you've got to like look back at your past self a while ago, not just look back at your past self 5 minutes ago. And when you do that, you'll see, damn, you know what? That guy sucks. I'm way better than that guy. If you look back far enough, you'll see that. The third thing I've realized is that you're not the problem. Other people aren't the problem. Your method is the problem. So there's nothing wrong with you as a person. I think every advice says that. So I think people know that. They just need to actually drill that into their heads. There's nothing wrong with you as a person. There's also nothing wrong with the people you're meeting. So let me tell you a little story about that. With these weekly dinners I told you I was going to, a lot of the time I would go to them and I'd be like, no one there really matched my standards. I didn't really want to meet anyone there. And then a couple weeks later, I mean now, basically the last month or so, I realized like, damn, some of those guys actually have some like values that I'm looking for, you know, like they're really kind, they're chatty, they're like fun to be around. I enjoy being around them. We can talk about like the stuff that actually matters to us. Like, even though they don't share my exact same routine, they don't have my same goals, there's still a lot we can connect over and that we can get value from each other from. So this is not saying that your standards are too high and you need to lower them. This is me saying that maybe, and then again, not definitely, but maybe there's some value you can be finding in other people. And this is not me saying as well that you should just immediately be friends with everyone, or immediately like slightly lower your standards and being friends with more people. This is just a journey that you have to go on over a long period of time. And it's just like the whole art form of making friends is that part of it is you have to develop the skill of working out who to be friends with. It's a difficult skill. It's not just like an easy thing to do. And it's something you develop, I've found. So you're not the problem. Other people aren't the problem. Maybe like you do need to meet more people because the people you have met actually aren't aligned with you. But again, that is your method is the problem. So ultimately, if you aren't making friends, either it hasn't been long enough or your method is the problem, which is you lack a skill, basically. So nothing wrong with you, it's a skill you lack. You may lack conversational skills. You may lack like overall communication skills. You may not be socially cluey enough. Maybe you lack the skill of working out who to be friends with. Maybe it's like you would be able to make friends with someone, but you don't follow up with them over text enough. And so they drift away. There's so many points where it can go wrong. And if any single one of them isn't like above the minimum threshold, then it's going to be a break point. You're going to stop there and you're not going to get to the final destination of making friends. So all of these things you've got to fix. And that's why it takes so long. That's why it takes so much effort. But you can get there. That line is like the line of your destiny. It's not for someone else. Like, you can do it. And like I said with that story earlier, like that guy told me I was way more confident than last time. So I had ticked off that box, you know, one skill down, a couple more to go. It's just like a video game. And the last thing I've realized is that more people struggle with this stuff than you think. And that's an obvious point to make, and everyone says that stuff, but I think I can prove why that might be the case. First of all, if you're going out and socializing, you're more likely to meet people who like going out and socializing. Otherwise, you're more likely to meet people who have lots of friends. There's literally like a paradox, like a math paradox. It's like your friends have more friends than you. You can look that up. It's true that like if you go to a social event, you're going to find more social people there than if you go to something where you're not forced to be there, you know. Like if you walk into a shopping center and just look around, those people that you see probably have less friends than if you go to a bar and look around, you know. So your standards are a little bit just skewed because what you're seeing is not the actual population. And also, social media is even worse. You're more likely to post if you are more social and outgoing. You're more likely to post, especially about your social life, because I mean, just on your own stories, people are always going to post like stuff they have with their friends because it makes them seem popular. But maybe that's the first time they've seen their friends in months. But you only see the highlights. It's notorious. Social media is just notorious for that. You only see the highlights. You only see people who are doing really well socially at that moment in time. And this is also not something most people talk about, because a lot of people feel like it's kind of like saying, oh, I don't have empathy. People feel like it's a part of their personality if they struggle socially. But it's not. It's just like saying, oh, I have bad organizational skills. As I was saying, without those skills you got to tick off, it's just, oh, I lack some of these skills. Sure, like that's not a good thing that you lack those skills. They're important skills. But there's nothing wrong with you. It's not like I'm a sociopath or anything like that, where there's kind of something wrong with your psyche in a way. So, bro, or what's the girl, bro, you're good. It will take some time, but you're getting there. And you will get there, for sure. Making friends is one of those struggles for you and me, probably. And it's a struggle that we will overcome together. So I hope this helped. Have a great day.